Ira Gittens and her husband Charles Gittens welcomed their son Arnott Jefferson Gittens into the world on Thursday, March 28, 1957. In both Old French and English, the name Arnott is an Old English name that means little eagle. It is thought that our parents name him in honor of a well-known Vincentian, Sir Arnott Samuel Cato, KCMG, MB, CHB, EDN, on LLD, UWI, who after receiving his medical degree in St. Vincent, practiced medicine and politics for the most of his life in Barbados. After passing the Common Entrance exam, Arnott was admitted to Combermere School, where he completed his secondary education and earned General Certificate of Education (GCE) certificates in English language, history, French, and principles of accounts. Arnott's formal education started at St. Giles Infant and Primary Schools. Reflecting on young Arnott, some of his secondary school peers, including Argyle Catwell, Stuart Russell, and Carl Smith, complimented him as a modest, timid, clever, and polite gentleman. Argyle recalled enrolling at Combermere's lower 1B program in 1967 with Arnott. Recalling the early days when young Arnott had just enrolled as a student at Combermere, Stuart Russell, who lived in the same district as Arnott, also became the passenger in his bicycle bar, as Stuart skillfully made him daily trek to and from school, with many insightful conversations ensuing between them during these bonding sessions. Carl Smith remembered that when he first started school at Combermere, Arnott would pick him up every day. I suppose Arnott was repaying his friend Carl in a similar manner to how Stuart had helped him. It was not, however, on a bicycle bar this time. His studies led him to the Barbados Institute of Management and Productivity, BIMAP, in 1982, where he successfully finished the Advanced Bookkeeping and Accounts course. He has always been eager to learn new things and improve his abilities. Refusing to stop there, the Computer Training Division Executive Services Limited, Business Development Consultants, granted him a certificate in Spreadsheet Analysis Level 1 in 1987. Arnott received his Computer Assisted Accountant certification the next year. Arnott chose to pursue a career in accounting, working in the accounting divisions of companies including Chefette Restaurants, Motor Services Limited, Attorney at Law Lemuel Rollins, and Solar Dynamics. He seemed to be quite at ease and skilled with numbers. Arnott began working at the National Assistance Board in June 1996 and remained there as a clerical officer in the accounts department until his retirement on March 31st, 2023. While working there, Arnott pursued his interest in learning, and between April 1999 and March 2000, he obtained certifications in accounting courses levels 1 and 2 from the Government of Barbados Training Division. He began attending the Barbados Community College in 2005 and in 2008. He earned his Associate of Applied Arts degree in Public Sector Management. He received certifications in January 2009 for attending the courses on improving people performance for organizational success and strategic planning, your compass for decision making. Arnott's service to the National Assistance Board had such an influence that in 2010 he received a certificate of appreciation for his outstanding service. Since Arnott's parents, Charles and Ira, were devoted Christians who taught their kids and grandkids about spirituality, the Carrollton Pilgrim Holiness Church came to be known as their family church. At an early age, under the guidance of the late Reverend Colin West, started participating in a few church missions. One of his Sunday school teachers, Leon West, said, and I quote, Arnott joined the Christian Youth Crusaders, end quote, along with Orlando Arthur, the guitarist, and the late Michael Clark. He was also a member of a trio. In tradition, he played cricket for Carrington's cricket team, sang in the youth choir, delivered poetry at various church events, and was involved in Youth for Christ during his interactions with co-workers. William recalls his multilingual brother Arnott as someone who regularly spoke Latin, Spanish, or French. I quote, as I observed him examining and evaluating many aspects of language, I could categorize him as a linguist, end quote. Despite the impression that Arnott was a quite introverted young man, William observes that his brother was quite analytical, analyzing pros and disadvantages and looking up information online in sports books and in notes. He had a talent for foreign subjects and used data from the Wisden Cricketer's Almanac. His conversations were usually insightful and well-informed. He was having intelligent conversations with his colleagues, particularly his Martinicans such as Trevor Millington, Rupert Green, Robert Ford, Stuart Russell, and his siblings Sherlyn, William, and Stephen. His sisters, Emerald and Cheryl, have warm and affectionate recollections of Arnott's tender disposition. Emerald says, I quote, no, end quote, was not an option for Arnott when it came to his family, particularly his mother and sisters. Being the man of few words that he was, he might not even reply if a request was made of him in any way. Frequently, he remained silent. But in the fullness of time, Arnott would always be there to help, whether it was to drive them someplace, assist with a household chore, offer support when required, or just answer any questions they had. He was there for them at all times. Specifically, Cheryl remembers Arnott supporting her throughout her pregnancy. She was the first to arrive at the hospital after giving birth to make sure she and little John were taken home safely. Since then, he has been John's loving and devoted uncle. He was there to support his family through his nephew Ramon's illness. Laura Gittens, Arnott's sister-in-law, made the following comments. I quote, my first memorable encounter with Arnott was on an evening after work. This was just after my late husband Stephen had formally introduced me to the Gittens family. I was waiting in the van stand and saw Arnott walking towards the same van stand. I was just about to shout for him when I realized that I only remembered the nickname Stephen always used, Baba. I tried but could not remember the name Arnott, and I just let him walk past me without him noticing me. I was too embarrassed to admit that I could not recall his name, and I was not bold enough to shout out Baba. Later, I confessed this to Arnott, and he quickly chuckled and assured me that he understood. Mum Gittens would say to me that her children thought that Arnott was her favorite child. Truth was that she loved each of her children in a special way. It was Arnott's quiet nature and the fact that he was not easily flustered that she treasured. Mum Gittens told me that she would be in a crowded room and all she had to do was look across to Arnott and speak without words. It was just a special understanding that they had. It was this calm quietness and his strong presence that grew to be of great value to me and my immediate family over the years. Stephen had a great affection and respect for his brother. They would have long talks, at least once or twice a month, about the topic of the day. Keeping in touch with Arnott was very important to Stephen. Anytime Stephen could not pick me up or needed something dropped off, Arnott would assist. In fact, he would help in any way he could with no fuss or long talk. Arnott was there when my then 3-year-old son Ramon was diagnosed with cancer. While Ramon was undergoing treatment, he had cravings for some of the strangest things at the strangest times. Ramon would call for food like pizza or cuckoo and gravy at 2 or 3 in the morning. I would call Mum Gittens, and in about an hour, Arnott would bring the goodies to the hospital, clad in his pajamas and wearing a hat. Ramon would be so fussy, and Uncle Arnott would smile and shake his head while quietly watching Ramon eating some of the food before he left for home. Arnott was there waiting with me soon after my husband passed. He waited with Ramon, and I along with the body for the police, doctor, etc. He stayed until Stephen's body was taken away. Few words were spoken by any of us during this time, but the fact that Arnott was there mattered. He was where he was needed. Ramon and I will miss your presence in our lives, Arnott. I am so glad that I got to thank you sincerely for being there for Ramon and I before you left us. We thank God for the brother, uncle, and friend we had in you, and for the time that we had with you. Arnott loved to cook. He especially enjoyed making the family's annual Christmas gammon. However, his favorite dish was simply Bajan breadfruit. Sports were Arnott's favorite pastime, in addition to playing road tennis with Barbados's now famous road tennis legend Julian Michael Jackson White. He also enjoyed playing football and pitching marbles. However, it is our belief that Julian Michael Jackson White only became well known as a result of surreptitiously observing Arnott play the game of road tennis with such ability and finesse. Being a very private person, Arnott was content to play the game only with the people in his Martinique Road neighborhood. Arnott's all-time passion in sports, though, was cricket. When Arnott was a little child, he would always be the first to arrive in Rupert Green's grandparents' backyard after school and get to play. Arnott was an ardent cricket enthusiast who meticulously documented and recorded the scores, stats, and individual player information from every cricket match. He would watch matches that were played in different time zones all night long and could be found at particularly every test match that was played locally. He was an ardent supporter of West Indian cricket and would stick with the side until the very last ball was bowled, despite the fact that it was obvious the match was not going their way. You could not possibly stop him while he's watching a cricket match, especially in those suspenseful periods of the game. You dare not stop him. Arnott was so passionate about cricket that, according to his sister Emerald, he invented a unique variation of the game called blind man cricket. Using an old cardboard box, he created a giant pie heart for this game. He has written different gaming elements in each piece of pie. For instance, a duck, a run-out, a maiden, 6 runs, 4 runs, LBW, out caught, 2 runs, caught behind, etc. Each batsman faced the crease, which was clearly Arnott's constructed pie chart. They were required to touch any spot on the board, draw a few circles with their finger in mid-air, close their eyes, or occasionally wear blindfolds. Their place in the game was defined by the area of the board where their finger fell. LBW, 6 runs, run out, etc. That is the extent of his cricket love. Trevor Middleton considered Arnott to be his adopted brother and close friend. Recalling those days as young adults, Trevor adds, I quote, "My recollection always goes back to that time when I think of my best friend Arnott, and we would spend many hours enjoying the peace and quiet at Pebbles Beach, as it was known back then. We would frequently use this time to talk about different subjects, but the majority of it was spent in silence as we listened to the song of the waves repeatedly kissing the coast. Later in life, we would frequently partake in his favorite activity, which was watching cricket at all levels. I am greatly shaken by his departure. I will always treasure the memories I have of Arnott, my best friend. The family believes that on December 12, 2023, Arnott departed this world with the peace of mind that he will see his Redeemer as Master and Lord. He had earlier told his sisters, who were by his bedside, to be there for one another and to remember that God is indeed awesome before passing away calmly and painlessly. Across the globe, friends and relatives have expressed their sadness over Arnott's demise. We truly appreciate all of your support and sympathies, as well as your presence in person and those who watch online today. Thursday is Arnott Jefferson Gittens' return to the pavilion today, as he is laid to rest from this physical earth. Gittens was thrown into this physical world on a Thursday, faced many balls in life, and completed his innings of 66 years, 9 months, and 7 days. He will always be cherished and missed till we cross paths again. Rest in peace, brother, nephew, uncle, cousin, and friend.